like something like 9 in the morning, 9 or 10 in the morning for me. And I want to start off by continuing to clean the seeds, the cactus seeds that I've cleaned yesterday. The ones that I have here, this is a good cross from Flying Saucer Cantora Gelb, a huge orange flower, beautiful, 20 centimeters plus. And I've shown it in a few time-lapse videos, and it was absolutely beautiful, mesmerizing kind of video. So I need to sow out the seeds from that plant. I'm glad that I came across them, and I want to sow them out in one of the next live streams. Yeah, from the cross, Flying Saucer, Cantora Gelb, a classic kind of cross between two very special kind of hybrids, both great in their very own way. And in this case, it just produced something amazing. The breeder of the plant is Reinhard Liske. These are seeds that I created this year, like by crossing it with something else. I got 2 fruits, but 2 small fruits. There were definitely there were just maybe 30 to 50 seeds in them. So it's definitely worth to clean them, making sure that these will come up great. And yeah, welcome to the live stream. Good morning, everyone. Just came online, and I brought a lot of seedling containers that I want to check from where we sown out. We started sowing out maybe a little bit more than a month ago, and we have all these seedling containers here that I control on a regular basis on the stream. Just looking into every bag, making sure that the seedlings are all right, that nothing is going on there, and we will do that. I brought a lot of them, so we definitely have a lot of work today. Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Also taking general kind of questions if you like. If not, I would just do the kind of stuff that I would usually do. Classic indoor cactus work, cleaning seeds, or checking the containers that I've sown out over winter. Over here, December is usually the time where sowing out, where a lot of breeders are sowing out. I started a little bit earlier for the channel, but during the winter months, it's a busy season indoors for cactus breeders. And I love that part of the hobby. It's a great kind of activity to sow out outdoors. Everything is looking bleak and white, and you can kind of grow something indoors at a time when it wasn't possible back like maybe 50 or 100 years ago. It's a great feeling being able to do that, you know. Okay. So yeah, I think it's maybe 50 seeds that we got from that one plant, from that one fruit on that one plant. So you can imagine if you were to sell these, like put them in the shop, you would have to split them up into very small portions, and that makes very little sense financially. It makes more sense to grow them out and maybe propagate whatever cool hybrid or cool kind of plant you have afterwards. In regards to the seeds, a lot of the kind of crosses that I do, a lot of the stuff that I have on the channel, the plants have very small flowers and very small fruit. I mean, often only containing maybe 100 seeds, 50 seeds. It's very different than it is with some of the bigger columnar cacti. They often have, yeah, pretty big kind of fruit that fit a few hundred seeds minimum. Yeah, if you're going into the seed business, it's tough to do it with kind of when you got to list something where you only have so few seeds of each cross. Okay, 25 season, and we will sow them out within the next days. And now I want to start checking on the containers. Again, these are all seedlings that we planted. Hey, good morning. How do cactus seeds germinate in such a dry climate? I mean, right now it's winter outdoors, you know. Indoors, I just induce the germination in front of the heater. I have them in closed plastic bags to keep the humidity in. You just have to make sure that the temperature is met, something like 29 degrees Celsius. A little bit warmer doesn't hurt in the beginning. And the moment I have seedlings, like the ones that I will show you soon, I move them under a plant lamp indoors, just grow them until maybe March or April. And then you can start maybe carefully bringing them outdoors into the greenhouse where I live. You wouldn't be able to grow them outdoors, like over winter, for example. It would be no problem if the place were dry. The place is too wet. It's raining too much. If you sprinkle out cactus seeds in nature, there's a huge rate of failure, like seedlings that are lost because the conditions in nature are so difficult. It takes 10,000s of seeds to get a few adult plants in nature. So when you do not grow them indoors, it is very hard to just guarantee that the right setting. Maybe with a very organic soil that can kind of maintain the humidity for a while, even outdoors, even when it doesn't rain. But it will be very difficult also because they are so sensitive, so vulnerable in the first months. Everything can be too much, you know, like a little insect taking a bite can already be too much. And yeah, that is the big problem, that it takes so many seeds in nature for cacti to propagate long term and do it successfully. That's why it also matters for the rare species that the seeds remain there. Like in there are many kind of very vulnerable species threatened, and in these cases it takes a lot of seeds. And that is especially true in the harsh conditions. For example, in Bolivia, they had a really bad time with drought over like a decade or something, and a lot of plants are lost in such conditions. It gets difficult for seedlings to survive, and that's part of the problem. Hope that helps. Always happy to take questions. If not, I'm just going through the seedlings, checking everything. I'm sure we will find a few fungus gnats here and there again, like the whole week. The whole bag was contaminated, so we're not using it anymore. I have a new bag of soil that is coming in, but right now everything takes a week. Like DHL takes a while to come. They don't come every day anymore. Think they're having trouble. So yeah, but everything looks good. I just reposition a few seedlings here and there. When you notice that seedlings have fallen over, then it's best to pick them up again or put them like in an angle where they can grow back into the soil. Very often when a seedling is like rolls on the side, like falls over, it will not make it. It's just important that they stay in touch with the soil. Of course, they can sometimes, you know, just because they are very hardy kind of species, or hybrids. They can sometimes make it, but it's better not to push it. So yeah, in here, these are looking great for the age. Maybe 14 days. A lot of them still have the seed corn like stuck on the head, on the tip. That happens very often, and it's rarely a problem. It can happen, but rarely. But I sometimes just try to get it off, because it can cause an infection if the seedling grows and doesn't have space to grow somewhere, because that the remnant of the seed corn kind of presses against it. Seen a few infections like that, and it's best to avoid them, because in a closed container everything can become a problem. You just can't. It's not so easy to just take off the lid and continue like nothing happened. You need that kind of humidity. But they are looking great too. Welcome everyone to the live stream. Just doing classic cactus work, checking on the seedlings from the last months or 1.5 months that we have been doing that. If you want to like take a look at when we were sowing out, the older streams have that pretty much. I've been like using that kind of stream format for sowing out recently, and it works great. It allows for people to ask questions and that kind of stuff. So always happy if something doesn't work, let me know, and I try to help. That's why I'm here. So yeah, let me see what kind of a cross this is. Rosa California hybrid. Yeah, looking okay. Not great, but also not bad. We can put these under the lamp again. Seedlings are looking okay so far. Today I let the heater out for half a day. It was just the quality of like the air quality indoors was just too bad with the wood burner. It was constantly like giving out a little bit every time you open it up. You have a little bit of smoke in the room, and it felt like there was no oxygen. So today the temperature is a little bit lower, but so far it doesn't really matter. Yesterday, I'm sure that the seedlings that we've sown out on the channel, they've gotten enough heat to induce the germination, so it shouldn't be a problem. Every now and then, it doesn't matter if the temperatures goes down again. The spikes in between can already be enough. Okay, yeah, these are looking great too. This is Bamboy kind of hybrid. Really looking forward seeing hybrids with Bamboy. I've said that yesterday and in a few other streams. Bamboy is like a new milestone in my opinion. Very similar to Pink Stripes. That hybrid will create a mass of great follow-up hybrids of it. And I'm very happy that I can sow some out already. Like first flowers this year. I've had the plant for at least 4 years, I think, and it only flowered this year for the first time. Okay, these are looking great. Healthy looking seedlings with a lot of spines. I really like that. And it's from a cross with a hybrid called Zizala. Also, that kind of Wörlitz Cantora colorful pattern like you see in Pink Stripes. And the seedlings are looking healthy. Sometimes you kind of see that certain crosses are particularly healthy, and this is one of them where I feel just genetically from a plant health perspective, they are developing very nicely early on. Okay, in here I see a little bit of moss. Not really something that would cause a problem, but it's something to kind of keep in mind. let me see. Do you open the bag every day to breathe? I mean, I kind of do it on the channel because it's a great thing to do and to show what is important, you know. So we're doing it a little bit more often on the channel. I kind of move them back and forth every few days, and it's for one. I want to try getting almost all the problems that you would usually get when you're sowing out. So we're kind of forcing it a little bit. But yeah, I also try to check them on a regular basis to make sure that nothing in the bag can go from a little tiny local infection to a whole mess of fungal growth in the container. That can sometimes happen very fast, and if you catch it in time, if you just see it when it's just a tiny infection on one seedling, then you can prevent all that, you know. So checking them often is a good thing. Also letting in oxygen and looking in to see if you sometimes you see a problem that would require you to transplant the seedlings into an entirely new container. Stuff like that will eventually make the difference, you know. Like long term, the more often you work with the seedlings, move them, give them a new soil every now and then, that greatly increases the chance to get large plants. I've talked about it with Reinhard Liske, and he said he tries to repot small seedlings very often. And when he loses seedlings, it's usually when they haven't been repotted often enough. I mean, after a certain time, there's just a higher risk that the pH level of the soil isn't right anymore. So you would have to use a pH buffer to long term kind of have a solid, steady quality of the soil, and that's not easy. So very often repotting is an easier way to just get them into the correct pH right away again, and full of nutrients, you know. So yeah, these are looking great too. Really nice, healthy spines, and the spinier they get, it's usually a reaction to the lamp. I used to use a very strong lamp for cactus seedlings, one that was too strong for them. And you could see they were basically just spines at some point. They were producing so much spination to shield against the lamp that they were kind of reduced to mostly spines. And then I got me another lamp, and now it's a little bit less problematic, but they still produce the spines as a reaction to the sunlight, because that's what they would do in nature, you know, just have the spines. For one, it's a protection against animals trying to eat them, but it's also against the sun that is kind of blocking a little bit of the UV rays away from it. So yeah, and when you see that, when it's coming out nicely, the spination in the seedlings, that's usually a sign that everything's going great. You have them under the right kind of lamp. Because sometimes if the lamp isn't right, if the lamp is too strong, they will just disappear eventually. They will become more spiny and smaller until they're gone. And in this case, this is a 100-watt kind of lamp. Nothing super expensive to run. I wouldn't be able to afford that anyway. So the plant lamp that I'm using is pretty mild compared to the stuff that's out there. Okay, so here, this is a funky cross. There are all kinds of different kind of colors. I'm not sure if it translates in this kind of video, because then it's hard to zoom in and that kind of stuff. But some of the seedlings are deep green, some others completely yellow, and everything in between. So you have a really nice range of colors, and that means that there's some genetic thing going on, like variegation. I wouldn't be surprised if there are other mutations like crested growth. Yeah, and this is a really good cross. This is a columnar kind of cross, so it will be cool to grow these out. I like that. We'll see if they can all survive, if they are all able to produce chlorophyll on their own. Some of the variegated seedlings, they are completely albino. They cannot produce any kind of chlorophyll, and then you have to graft them. And I'm not doing that. I'm not going like taking all that effort and work just to continue to grow a plant that is not able to survive by itself. I kind of find that a little, yeah, I wouldn't do it, you know. So let me see. Yeah, the spines are really a little bit of a protection method against the sun too. And it makes a lot of sense in countries where there's very little shade, you know, they kind of have to create a little bit of shade on their own. So yeah. In here, these are looking good. This is Lobivia winteriana hybrid cross. Some of them also have the seed corn on them, but I can easily get it down. Here's a small seedling that germinated on top of another seedling, and that needs to be moved down because there's no contact of the root with the soil that way. And you can see it already almost disappeared. It got smaller and smaller, and that is often a sign that you will lose a seedling if you not at least change something. You might still lose it. This one doesn't look like it will make it, but I want to give it a chance. Sometimes they pull through, so I don't know. We'll see how it will deal with that. I don't think it will recover, but I've seen everything happen, so never say never. Okay, next ones. Also super nice, healthy looking seedlings, strong spines, and a little bit of reddish coloration at the tip. And it happens very often that seedlings have the kind of reddish reaction to stress. It's not only to sunlight, but it can be sunlight, but also a sign that sometimes when the temperatures go down, when they experience a little bit of a cold shock, cold temperatures, suddenly they can have that reddish discoloration. They get that reddish discoloration when they are when they are too dry, when they are not getting enough water. That is their way of showing something is not going right here. But if it's just a little bit, a tiny bit, that I usually see that as a good sign. I see that as a sign that the plant kind of feels the stress, but it deals with it. You know, it continues to grow. The discoloration doesn't overtake the whole seedling. They look great, by the way. I mean, very very spiny body, and this is also the same kind of hybrid cross that I mentioned earlier, where I said that the seedlings look great. It's the same Caesar lark cross, just a very spiny, interesting kind of body early on. That is great. So far, I have seen no fungus gnat in them. That is amazing. Yesterday they were very common, and I'm sure we will find them today too, but not, hopefully not like it was yesterday. Okay, no fungus gnat, I think. But there's a seedling here and there that is not fully grounded, so we will do that just carefully. I just use a pencil, moving them around a little bit. Oh, yeah, there's the fungus gnat. Of course. Of course. Thank you. Go out, man. You did enough. Go out. Go away. So they are there, but it's not a huge problem. They might even get a seedling here and there, but most of them look all right. But we, of course, we need to. That's also why it's good to have keep an eye on them. If at some point a fungus gnat goes from a fungus gnat infestation then you probably should transplant the seedlings into another container, something like that. Okay, let's move these away. I want to have a little bit more space here. I will bring these back to the plant lamp later. Just putting them aside here. So I have a little bit more space to show the others. Okay. Fungus gnat. But the seedlings all look great. Not seeing any that would even show problems. So for now, I'm letting it be. Like, fungus gnat is out now. I don't think you can get them under control at that point, but we'll see. Okay. So these are very interesting kind of, like, some seedlings are very, very tall, very slender, not looking healthy. Kind of the way that like seedlings where the cross was genetically troubled. And this here, I see that one of the small seedlings is looking transparently, that is a word. Yeah, but it's kind of, it doesn't look like it's like this will survive. So taking it out is really important. Will fungus gnats eat seedlings? Yes, they will. They do. They usually attack them by the roots because they lay eggs into the soil, and then you will get this kind of larvae that is looking a little bit like tiny slugs or snails. They are pretty transparent, and you can see them crawling around on the soil, and those will usually eat the cactus seedlings' roots, or even whole cactus seedlings. Sometimes it's not a good thing. Definitely, it's something that you best avoid by, using like hot water to pasteurize the soil, that kind of stuff. But it also means you have to use it right away. You can't just pasteurize a lot of soil and then put it somewhere and wait. You have to use it right away, because otherwise you have the risk that that the fungus gnats get to it again. It's not easy to get rid of them once you have them, and in this case they came with the soil. So I hope that the next brand of soil that we will use will not have them. It's not usually a problem. There shouldn't be fungus gnats in sowing soil, but every now and then it happens. And in this case, it wasn't even sowing soil. It was a different kind of soil that I just wanted to experiment with on the channel. It wasn't... Normally, I recommend classic sowing soil. And the way I understand it, that soil is a little bit better treated against stuff like fungus gnats than when you buy a soil that is maybe designed to be put out on a cemetery, like that blackish kind of soil that you see there. That is a good soil for cacti, or it can be if you mix it in the right kind of percentages. But it might not be treated against fungus gnats. So yeah, next time we are working with classic sowing soil again, and I hope that the fungus gnats will be a thing of the past then. So yeah, here I see a seedling where I feel like it might have been attacked by the fungus gnat. The seedling looks relatively normal, but it has a brownish discoloration at the base, and that is often a sign for an infection, like orange kind of rust fungal kind of infection. And this probably happened because the fungus gnat kind of ate away the root, and then through these kinds of micro injuries that you have there, it instantly starts an infection. So when you see that the seedlings just look weird, they look orangish, sometimes it's fungus gnats that are actually that you haven't seen yet, you know, where you are aware that you have a problem with them. And yeah, it will just look as if the seedlings had a fungal infection, but it's basically just them constantly taking a bite here and there, causing in humidity, because everything's in a closed bag, you will instantly get infections then on the seedlings. So yeah, apart from the one that I just took out, the others are okay. But it's definitely, at some point we might have to transplant them into another soil, and maybe we're doing it just for the channel, because it's important to show these tiny seedlings are, it's not easy to transplant them, but it's easy enough that everyone can do it, if they know how. Just gotta be careful with the tiny roots, because once the root is broken, it often doesn't regrow. The seedling is just lost. So you have to keep a very careful hand, careful when you transplant them. Don't bend them, don't break them. And then it should be all right to even transplant very fresh seedlings. I did that very often when I found that a medium where you have seedlings in, and you brought them out of the bag at some point, and you realize that the soil isn't humid enough, the soil loses too much water, there's too much drainage sometimes, you know, or not enough drainage, and then you often transplant even tiny seedlings. It has to be sometimes, but ideally you would just leave them. Don't stress them, because every time you transplant them, they will be stressed for a couple of weeks maybe, but they usually recover. With these kinds of plants, they just need a little bit longer then. And these are looking great. Maybe 1 month old seedlings. I mean, I can show them. So you see them. First set of spines. And you can see that the soil in the container, it's a little bit wet, but it's not soaking wet. It's not like a swamp. It's not like Yoda is living there. Always important to allow the soil to also like take in oxygen, you know. If there's too much water in the soil, the roots cannot take in the oxygen from the soil, and that's why it's important to get the right humidity when sowing out. Not too much water, but a little bit is needed. Okay. Yeah, these are looking great too. Might even be the same cross, because they look kind of similar. And it's funny because here's a piece of wood that's sticking out. So there are many different opinions on cactus soil. And over the years, I've been working mostly with mineral stuff. And today I try to replace it more and more with a more organic medium. And I do that because I try to not, in summer when it's so hot, we have these times a year where everything is so hot, that I cannot even manage to water enough for the plants, because it's constantly evaporating. So I'm using a more organic soil now, so I don't have to water so often, and when the times are so hot, that I can just lean back a little bit more. So the longer I've been working with cacti, the less mineral my medium has become until today. I'm working, like I said, this is a super organic soil with pieces of wood in them, in it, and it's not a problem. It is kind of, you can get a local fungal infection here and there, on the piece of wood maybe, but it usually doesn't spread to the seedlings. And whatever we use here, this is not like sterile. Everything's alive here. This is completely out of the bag kind of soil, and it was a problem with the fungus gnats, but if you don't have the misfortune to get a contaminated bag of sowing soil, this will go well. So trying to work more with organic stuff, less with the minerals, because you also work around them all the time. My great grandfather, he was like a coal miner, and he had that kind of a dust lung that they always get. And I have noticed that a lot of cactus breeders have problems with kind of a similar stuff too. A lot of like people that I personally knew. So I decided I want to move away from the mineral stuff that you always have around you, that you constantly, you step a little bit on it, kind of you walk, like when you lose pumice, when pumice rolls out of the pot, you walk over it, you crush it. Or if it's perlite, it's always blown out of the pot. It lies everywhere in the garden, and you are always around it. You're always working around it. So I try to just replace as much as possible. I still use a little washed pumice for the seedlings, because at a certain stage, it is important for them to have a perfect drainage. So I use it in one step and only that step. And it's always washed pumice that doesn't have a lot of dust with it. But that is the only kind of mineral stuff that I currently use. So yeah, it works. You just gotta adjust your water management. And if you use something like pumice is a little more forgiving than organic medium. But it's a good cactus breeder should be able to work with almost every medium. You have to have the right pH level, and the soil has to somehow be able to kind of allow the seedlings to take in some nutrients and water. But as long as that is guaranteed, a good breeder can make it work with everything. So yeah, okay, we had this one. This is the one with the piece of like wood sticking out. So yeah. Hey Dave, good morning. Only now seeing it. Yeah, I'm going through the seedlings. A lot of stuff that's been discussed. Any kind of questions, I'm happy to take them. If not, I'm just continuing to go through here. And then I'll continue with cleaning the cactus seeds. There are just too many. And I'm making real progress in the last kind of couple of weeks since I'm doing this on the channel. It has really helped. So in this cross here, there are a bunch of very, very big seedlings and some that are tiny, that look like they might not develop at all. But I often try to give them a chance. Sometimes you have a crested or a mutated seedling that is delayed in growth, takes longer to grow up, and sometimes it can be worse to give them the time. Okay, maybe 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks old seedlings here. Everything looking okay. Few pieces of soil that have covered the seedlings. But apart from that, no problem, no fungus gnat. Looking good so far. Like I said, the very organic soil that we're using here, the seedlings love it. Later, when they get bigger, it's a lot more difficult to keep them in such a humidity. You couldn't do it forever. But in the beginning, in the first 2 months or so, a very organic soil has helped them to grow fast, to get through the difficult phase fast. Phase where they are very, where everything can be too much for them, where you can lose them over the tiniest problems. Okay, let me see. Okay. Not a lot of seedlings, just a few, maybe 10. And one looks like it's transparent, not transparently. Okay, I need to take that one out. You can see that it wouldn't make it. It already starts to kind of, it is a very typical look that they usually get when they are gone. Very different from just a variegation or something like that. And the other seedlings don't really look like they are growing much either. This is a cross with Humkes Roro. That is a Hildewinterer Echinopsis hybrid. So genetically, a very wide cross. Genetically, could be problematic. That is like that the seedlings aren't growing healthy. That is something that I've seen on a lot of Hildewinterer. Very often the Hildewinterer hybrids need to be grafted early on. It's just, I assume, genetically there's just not enough genetic range in the species, in this whole kind of Hildewinterer species, that I think they moved it to Cactus at some point. But it's still a species where there are only very few populations, kind of bottleneck kind of situation, and I assume that leads to very often unhealthy seedlings. If you graft them, you can usually get them to size, but if you don't, a lot of them just disappear. You just lose them slowly over time. Not always. And if you have a cross like that, a Hildewinterer cross, and it's growing healthily, that's a good sign. But I've noticed that with a lot of them, and after talking to a lot of breeders, they just graft them very early on. Okay, yeah, these are looking great. Also, a very healthy spination already on the seedlings. Let me see if I can get the tag out, the label. But I have an idea what it could be. Also something columnar. You just see it on the body. Yep. Good cross from the 2024 season. Yeah, and always happy to answer questions if you wanna like have questions, have problems. I'm happy to help. That's why I'm doing that here. Okay, let me see what's happening here. Felt like there was a fungus gnat flying, but now I'm not seeing it. But it could be. Apart from that, the seedlings are looking great. This is going to be a lot of work to single out later. You look at this, and the first thing that comes into my head is how much space that this will need to be grown out. Okay, but the seedlings are looking great. Now I smashed them. Now it's, of course, now I have to do something here. Kind of pressed on the seedlings, and then a few of them came loose. I have like the sensitivity in the hands. It's completely gone. It's like I'm wearing gloves all the time. But yeah, this will be enough. This will work. Okay, apart from that, they are looking great. Let me see. We're almost through, maybe four containers, and then I'm continuing to clean. Yeah, seedlings looking great, all of them. A bunch of spines, but not many. One seedling looks a little bit off, but maybe because it had rolled over. But the way it looks, I don't like the color. I don't like the kind of texture of the skin. You can often see that it's going to become glassy, kind of see-through-ish. I take it out. I don't like how it looks. I don't think it would recover. It's already, like, sometimes it gets cloudy. That can be a sign that seedlings beyond saving. I try to be proactive, prevent the problems before they happen. Okay, yeah. Whole lot of seedlings and all healthy, nothing that is requiring any kind of work. I don't want to change anything that's working, so we're just closing it up again, making sure that nothing gets in it. No fungus gnat. But these seedlings are really developing nicely. I really like what we did so far on the channel. I mean, you can see how you, within short time and a bunch of good quality seeds, you can grow an army of cacti. So many cacti that it will be hard to just have enough space to transplant them, to single them out. Okay, here's something where I need to do something. There's a seedling that didn't make it right in center. And if you would not remove that, it would instantly cause problems with the other seedlings. This can cause an infection that takes over the whole container. So it's great when you catch it early. So I decided that I want to start drawing. That is something where I just had like the idea. And I want to start doing it soon. Will get me like something to draw. Just trying to draw plants. I always feel like when I look at kind of artistic recreations of the cactus flowers that I do, I feel like they often don't look original. You know, they are kind of changing stuff, like the number of petals, the length of the petals. I've had a few kind of logos for websites, cactus websites, where I had people create me flowers, and very often the whole anatomy was wrong. Like the whole kind of flower looked different. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of draw them the way they really are, and I can't do it. So it will be interesting. I'm a complete beginner at that, but I just want to start. We'll see how it goes. Okay, yeah, the seedlings here, they look great. Apart from that one seedling that I had to remove. Here's another one that needs removal. So we need to keep an eye on that. Something's not right in here. It shouldn't happen on that kind of scale. Either the seedlings were kind of had problems where they weren't able to produce chlorophyll, or there's a problem in the soil, like fungus gnats. And in that case, we might have to transplant them soon in one of the next episodes, maybe. We'll see. If we have problems with this container again, we will transplant them. Not letting them take my beautiful seedlings, because these are great. Here's one that I don't like the color of either. The skin texture doesn't look right. But I want to give it a chance. But you need to put in a lot of work to prevent these kind of situations before they become a big problem. always easier to take out the seedling here and there compared to when you have mold growing throughout the base, and you don't see it until it's too late. Okay, last one. All healthy seedlings, but not very old. No real spines yet. Maybe one tiny spine here and there at the tip. But apart from that, they are maybe 2 or 3 weeks old at the most. But they are looking good. Everything great here. All right. Yeah. I mean, now we checked 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Way over 20 seedling containers, and we found problems in 2 or 3, like the real kind of problems that meant we have to get active, remove something. And I mean, if you don't do it, if you wouldn't have done that kind of work, then you would have missed that maybe and only seen it 2 weeks later, and by that time it can already be too late. So yeah, these will go back to the lamp now. Like later when I end the video, I will move these to the lamp again. Just try to let them grow. We will keep them indoors for at least until maybe March next year. So that's quite a while where hopefully everything will go right indoors. And yeah, checking them on a regular basis. Every now and then I want to continue to sow out, but only a little. The people who kind of missed that part, there, like all the streams are there where we got started sowing out. We will sow out again, but I don't want it to become too much. Otherwise, we will have issues with like where will we put all the seedlings. Okay, now a little bit more seed cleaning. And always happy to take questions, guys. Welcome to the new ones that are just randomly finding the stream. I'm now growing seeds of Flying Dragon. Pretty good hybrid. But the fruit was tiny. Not many seeds. And we got to do some cleaning here. A little bit more thorough than what I have done. All right, take care. Thank you for joining the stream. I'm usually doing it around the same time. So yeah. And this is the kind of cross that I would sow out. Flying Dragon Cantora. That was a pretty good hybrid cross. I can see that like Flying Dragon making a good combination with a lot of different kind of plants where I want to try it out. I have 2 Flying Dragon plants, and in the last years they haven't flowered. So personally, I believe it's probably they need a very specific kind of weather in winter. And depending on how the temperatures are, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm not sure. What I find funny is that every year, the Flying Dragon hybrids didn't flower. The Sorensia carmagensis, the botanical plants, haven't flowered either. Sometimes you can kind of see relationship, some kind of a genetic link, because Flying Dragon, it's uncertain what kind of a hybrid it is, and I suspect it has Sorensia carmagensis in it. And yeah, I mean, every time carmagensis flowered for me, Flying Dragon flowered. And in the other years, neither the Camargensis nor the Flying Dragon flower did flower. So yeah, I feel they are related. Camargensis being used in a hybrid cross, maybe with Cantora, something like that. Or maybe with Schafari, like Michael Kiesling from Chiemgau Cactus said, what he thinks it is. But yeah, the flowers are huge, very unique kind of flower shape. And in my opinion, that also shows that it is Camargensis, because that species just has a very unique kind of flower, very unique kind of way to open the flower. The way the sepals are like at the standing away, like really pointing away very uniquely. That is something that I also see in Flying Dragon. But who knows? It doesn't really matter. I mean, it would matter in that regard that people kind of see more potential in hybrids with Sörensia camargensis. I feel like at this point, the species is like a little kind of secret tip, kind of a underdog favorite, you know, because I've seen a lot of great stuff from hybrids with camargensis, Sörensia camargensis, Echinopsis camargensis. I don't think I've ever seen a hybrid with it that was bad, that didn't have a big flower. So there could be a lot of potential for future hybrid crosses. So yeah, and this is from Flying Dragon and Cantora 1433. Reinhard Liske cross 1433. That was a classic Cantora hybrid cross that just produced amazing offspring, like very big flowers. So yeah. And I crossed it with something else. Amun Re, something like that. I have at least 5 different Flying Dragon hybrids, and I made a lot of crosses with them over the years, and so far I haven't seen any one of them flower. Still a few years away. A lot of dirt in the seeds. Okay. But we're getting there. Always trying to, if I sort out viable seeds, I try to get them back onto the piece of paper here. Seed cleaning, when you do it like dry without water or a sieve, can be time consuming. I'm constantly rolling the seeds around on the piece of paper, and the stuff that remains, like the stuff that you have afterwards that doesn't roll to the side, is usually organic material that you can dust off the piece of paper. That allows you to clean the seeds a little bit better before you are sowing out, or when you are in the middle of bagging the seeds. It really matters that the seeds are clean, because if they already start with contaminants in all around them, then you will not have the best situation for the seedling. Okay, pretty much clean now. I mean, before I'm sowing out, I will do another cleaning round, but for now it looks great. Flying Dragon, Cantora. Let me see if I wrote something else on there. No. But I know which one it was. Very metallic kind of looking flower. Very beautiful. One of the most beautiful sisters of that cross. And the breeder of the mother plant here is Walter Stocker. Okay, there are a few seeds here and there that I forgot. Taking them back now, and then I will bag it. Okay. Okay, maybe 75 seeds. Could even be 100. And we will be sowing them out eventually. I want to get to the point where I have all the seeds from the season ready to sow out or give away, whatever. And then we'll see what we do. Okay, Flying Dragon, Cantora, 1433. G11 is basically the ending of that Cantora hybrid. Okay. Next one. I had a bunch of hybrids with a Sörensia telegonoidis hybrid called Ulf Meerbold. That plant was one of the best in the season, one of the best that I've shown. And yeah, these are seeds from it. So that is great. Oh, but this is going to take a while. Always scraping the seeds off the paper towel. And later on, everything will have to be cleaned manually too. A lot of work. Okay. Cleaning cactus seeds is a really time-consuming activity that doesn't make you rich, but you will always do it because it's amazing when you have harvested your own seeds. And it's usually the reason why I get back to it. I hate cleaning seeds, but every now and then I'm kind of reminded how amazing it is when you kind of see the fruits of your labor in front of you. So that moment makes it worth it. That moment is the reason why I continue to clean this stuff on the channel. But this is going to take a while. These look actually like I might even want to do a second water cleaning. So we'll see. Just trying to get them all off the paper towel, and then I decide what to do. I'm always happy to take questions if you want to know something, like what I'm doing, or if you have if you're growing yourself at home. And if not, we're just cleaning the seeds that I have here. It should be a few, like maybe a couple hundred more. So that is a lot of time and energy that we have to spend there. If I wouldn't do it on the channel, I might never do it. I need that little motivation sometimes, especially right now. Okay. I think I have them all, got them all down now. Sometimes you don't see them, especially when you have like a lot of other plant material that also dried up, sometimes above the seeds, sometimes below them. Makes it hard to see where you still have viable seeds. Okay. And this is Sörensia Telegonoides hybrid Ulf Meerbold. I posted that plant. It looked amazing. Like this, the whole summer, it's been flowering. One of my the best, most positive surprises this year in the collection. If you have been following the channel, I'm sure you've seen it. Very nice, like terracotta, orangish kind of flowers, apricot kind of flowers. A very good kind of big flower. And just impressive when, like, we had 5 flowers simultaneously. That was a great thing. But yeah, I believe this almost looks like I should clean it a second time under the water. This is too much to clean like that. So I will just put it aside. Let me see what I have here. Where I can put it. Maybe a paper bag. I will put it in a paper bag and then I will give it a second cleaning later. Every now and then you will get across where the first cleaning wasn't enough. Okay. So this is, what was it? Ulf Meerbold. The hybrids that I got from Ingo Bartels. I'm not sure who the breeder is, but probably Rainer Heise. Very good breeder. Pioneer in regards to Telegonoides, in regards to that species. One of the first breeders who used that species. I didn't even know that species existed until I have seen it back then in his crosses. So very good breeder. Let me see what kind of a. And this was the biggest fruit of all of them. And it was the fruit that was also pollinated with another Telegonoides hybrid. So you have kind of, if you have the right pollen, the flower and fruit size goes a little bit up. Like the fruit was twice as big as the biggest of the others. So really interesting kind of thing. Very fertile species in general. Okay, so let me see what's this here. This is Gräsers Erfolg and Selbstbestäubung. Also interesting kind of hybrid. But this time ruffled flowers. Might also need a second round of cleaning, but we'll see. But yeah, Gräsers Erfolg Selbstbestäubung is a very ruffled hybrid, like a follow-up hybrid of Gräsers Erfolg. And Gräsers Erfolg is known to have a genetic problem. Every now and then, Gräsers Erfolg just terminates the growth and stops growing. And when it does that, it also kind of stops flowering with normal flowers and only produces tiny mutant flowers. Looks very, very weird. Like the flowers are like this tiny. And Gräsers Erfolg Selbstbestäubung, that follow-up hybrid, doesn't do that. It doesn't develop that kind of a bad mutation that the original has. So yeah, that makes it interesting. Also, when you're growing from seeds. Hey mate, welcome to the stream. I'm cleaning seeds. In the beginning, I've just opened all the seed containers where we've been sowing out, checking seedlings. Yeah, and now I'm discussing the seeds that I'm cleaning. Every cross is different, and it's currently like there's so many of them. Trying to get it done on stream, because otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. But yeah, we're making progress. Seeing a lot of, like, I have a big kind of little mountain of seedling bags here besides me, so we can sow out eventually. Sow out and maybe do a little Christmas thing. We'll see what I will do on Christmas with the seed stuff. Okay. Yeah, there's still some other stuff left, so I need to clean it up a little bit more. But I think we can get it done manually. Don't have to put these seeds back in the water, like cleaning them a second time with water. I try to avoid it. Sometimes you have to do it, but I think in this case we don't. We've been blessed. Can avoid that extra step of additional work that I always don't like. So yeah, apart from that, everything going great. So many seedlings that I've been able to show today, and we will have a lot of issues finding space for them later on. The greenhouses are already full, but it's important. I believe it's important to sow out. I don't want to kind of stop doing it entirely, also because I enjoy it. It's a kind of fun hobby that I always enjoyed in winter. Gives you a job during the winter time as a cactus breeder. Winter's the most depressing time for a cactus breeder. I mean, it's like that the cactus breeding season, it already feels like a distant memory to me, like something that happened in another life that I forgot. And it's just a few months ago. And it will take until March, until I'm really out again. I really don't like that time. So everything we can do in that time to make it like a little bit less boring, that is great. Okay. Yeah, the more organic material you have with the seeds, the more difficult it becomes to clean it efficiently. Because every time you move, like you sort something out, throw something away, then suddenly you see, oh, there was a seed sticking to it, another one, and 10 more. And before you know it, you are busy just moving seeds back and forth. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Doing this roughly every day, around the 9-10 in the morning, Berlin time. Now I found even more seedlings below here. I'm not sure if I overlooked these, but I need to bring these back. It's like 50 seeds. Okay, let me just... Okay. Sometimes it can be worth it to just do a second water cleaning. With these two, and when something dries up, you can no longer tell if something is a seed or if something is just crunch from the rest of the fruit that you had there, like when you were cleaning it, depending on how clean it was. The longer you wait with the cleaning, the more messy it becomes. Takes a lot of work because at some point, the seeds they sink into the remaining dried plant material that you have there, the rest from the fruit, and you need to scrape the seeds out again. That is so much work, and it's such an uncomfortable work. Sometimes best to clean the seeds right away. But when you have like 100 of them sitting there at once waiting for you to clean, it's something that that takes a while, usually every year. Yeah, we'll give this another cleaning. Also, I could use another paper bag. Give me a second, I need a paper bag. Sometimes it's better to not waste a lot of time. Just put it onto the sieve again, give it a second wash, and then it's good. Okay. So this is Gräsers Erfolg, Selbstbestäubung from below. Bottom fruit. Okay. Next one. This is really not fun. Cleaning seeds is really a dirty job. And you can't let it like lying around just waiting for it like hours and or maybe even weeks and months. You can't just leave it there because the viability would drop and you would have problems with all kinds of, like, you know, pests that could even cause problems, eat the seeds. So I try to do it fast now. Oh, and this was a great cross. Good that I found them. This is Echinopsis glauca. And that was another one of the plants where I've shown it on the channel in summer. And people were mesmerized by the flower, by the video. Filmed it in the evening. And you can really, like, the blackbirds in the background. It was a really nice setting. And I was able to pollinate that plant with bamboy. And that is an amazing success for me. The fact that I now have seeds from that cross, that is amazing. Echinopsis glauca is very rare. I mean, you find it sometimes, but almost never with the right name. But I have a lot of seeds that are still sticking to the paper towel. Takes a little bit of work to get them out again. It's like they are glued onto the paper. But this could be one of the best crosses that I ever made. Who knows? If the Echinopsis glauca is able to kind of take in the flower of the father somehow, get that into the second generation, that could be an amazing cross. Bamboy has a huge flower. And this one just has a great body, like the classic columnar body, maybe a little bit thinner, only getting 2 meters tall. But it already has a lot of the classic traits from a columnar cactus. So this could be great. So I really don't want to miss any kind of seeds. Maybe I can give away a few later. And that would be great. But I think this is it. Here's another one. Yeah, okay. Here's another one. Hiding. Okay. Okay, I want to clean these manually now. There aren't so many, so you can do it. Maybe 150 seeds, if at all. And I'm always taking the big, like when you have stuff that where you see it's clearly not seeds, you can just pick it up, clean it over the hand, and if you have like if there are a few more seeds that you overlooked, you can drop them back down to onto the piece of paper, and the rest will go. But you always overlook seeds. I'm not sure how they manage to stick to everything, but they do. Okay. I'm really looking forward to this cross. This was one of the fruits during the season where I was very happy, where I could really see the longer the fruit grew, like see the potential growing there. Sometimes when you succeed with a good cross, you keep looking at it like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. And I had that with that kind of fruit. So we'll see how it goes. I also had a successful cross with it and a ruffled Gräser hybrid. Hopefully that one will come out too, like interestingly. And I did a successful cross with, I think, Rio Miss Kansas. And that cross kind of didn't make a lot of sense because both had white flowers, but I just wanted to have any kind of seeds from Echinopsis glauca. I wasn't really interested in whether it's a hybrid of some sort or if it's a white, botanically white flowering botanical species. I just wanted to get something, and that is sometimes the way I do it. Like I sometimes don't even care what kind of a parent is pollinating the plant, as long as it's pollinating, and I get seeds from a rare plant. You know, like because growing from seeds gives you so much more genetic variety that you can work with. That it doesn't matter if the flower is white, because you might only want to use it as a baseline for the body, and you can always improve the kind of flower color later on. So that's how that Rio Miss Kansas kind of cross happened this year. And both fruits only had that kind of amount of seeds in them. Not a lot. I guess you just need the right species for pollination that really is full, like where the whole fruit is full of seeds, of viable seeds. All right, maybe doing another 10-15 minutes, and then I'm kind of getting back to Mika and Kami and the bathroom window again. But we're really making progress in regards to the seed cleaning. When you have these kinds of seeds, you just have to clean them, have to get it done. Every time I see the photos from the season, I know that I need to get back to cleaning. Usually I would have done this long time ago, but it was such an exhausting kind of season, such an exhausting autumn, that everything's a little bit delayed. Everything takes so much longer when you're kind of, you know, like when I gotta care for like Mika and Kami, and in between also doing the cactus work, everything gets instantly more difficult when you do it alone. But we're getting close to having really clean seeds here. Getting better and better. And it might even be 200 seeds, actually. And that is really, for that kind of cross with Bamboy as father, that is amazing. It's definitely the first cross with Bamboy, like where I was able to pollinate a columnar plant with it. First time. And I used it in other plants, in other crosses this year too. So maybe we're getting more seeds, but I don't think, but I don't recall that another one succeeded like this one did. Always rolling the seeds around on the piece of paper. And the organic material, like the stuff that shouldn't be with the seeds, that kind of stuff usually collects in center here because it doesn't roll like the seeds do. And that gives you a little bit of like a little window to clean out the organic material that you do not want to have with the seeds. And that is a big thing that I do all the time. Either before sowing out, when I open a new bag of seeds, I instantly start rolling stuff around just to see what's in there, just to see how the seeds feel, whether they are round or whether they are flat. If the seeds are flat, they might not even come up, and that is something that you, where I would sort them out, like not sow out any kind of seeds that are not, that don't look like they could come up. I don't want to have seedlings that are barely alive. So I rather don't go that route. And there are a lot of them that were mixed in between the other seeds. And when you roll them around, they collect in center, and you can start touching them, feeling them up, and seeing if they are flat or if they are actually round. If they are not round, there's probably no life in them. It's not that the smaller, flatter seedlings, the seeds cannot also germinate, but the chances are greatly reduced in these cases. Not fun. A lot of fungal infections start off with seeds that were barely alive, but at some point they gave up, and then you have a fungal infection in a container full of otherwise healthy seedlings. So never a bad idea to sort out whatever thing is only there to contaminate. Yeah, this one also. I mean, sometimes they look round, but when you touch them, it becomes clear that they would probably not grow into normal seedlings. And within the next days, we will probably sow out this cross. I want to have these sown out and ready next year. That is the kind of cross that I want to see, where I need to use the space for. That's the kind of standard where really in the future and next season, every time I'm not sure what plant gets the best space, best spot, that's the kind of standard where I have to measure it against. Okay. Might even be 250 seeds. That is a good cross. Very happy about them. Every now and then you make a cross that stands out, and this definitely stands out. Okay, so Glauca crossed with Bumboy 25. Okay, from the 25 season, 2025. Okay. That was that one. Let me see if there's something below. No. Okay. The next one is another Flying Dragon hybrid. I made a lot of crosses with them this year. So yeah, maybe doing another 10 minutes or so. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Happy to have a chat. If not, I'll just clean the seeds, you know. Just doing the cactus work, the daily cactus work that I would otherwise not do. There are people who can live without pressure. I apparently can't. All right. Also very small fruit. Not a lot of seeds. On average, I have maybe 50 seeds from the Flying Dragon hybrids. Also putting this one into another bag for cleaning. Brought me a few paper bags, and those will we will clean again on the in the kitchen, and I want to film it. I'm already preparing everything so we can film there. Cleaning seeds. That would be also great for the channel, or maybe the live stream. We'll see how I do it. I will either just do cleaning videos or post it as a stream. Yeah, we will put them through the sieve. And let everything dry on paper towels again. Second route. Let me see what's written on there. Okay. Next one. Next one doesn't look better. Might have to do a second round with that one too, but we'll see. This is a multi-hybrid Flying Dragon. No, not Flying Dragon. Gräsers schönste Winnebar, Flying Saucer, and something else was also involved. I don't have the full label here, but a lot of, at least 5 different parents involved in this one. In the mother. Just in the mother. And apparently this was a mess when I cleaned it. So we have to work a little bit harder now. Everyone who wants to start working in the seed business, take a close look at this, because this could be your future. So much work. You need so much space to dry them. And you are always busy cleaning something. It's a fun hobby. And it's a hard job. Okay, let me see. Here's a piece where I feel like they are stuck below the seeds. very often when I clean the seeds, the remnants of everything that was left in the sieve with the seeds, like for example, sometimes you have a little bit of pulp left. That stuff usually dries up. So you can always remove it, like it either sticks to the kitchen paper, or you can filter it out later. Just screw it like on the piece of paper, like I've been doing it earlier. In the next days, we will film a few Cactus Doctor segments again, like short videos. I've started doing that where I just take a plant that has a problem and we discuss everything in that video. That is something that I want to do over winter. I have a lot of plants that might need a little bit of interference here and there. Not a lot we can do in winter, but we can, for example, remove infections or discuss infections, like debate whether or not we should do something, that kind of stuff. And that will happen in the next days. I already picked a few plans that I want to do for these videos. And also happy to take questions for these kinds of special videos. Okay, I believe we got all the seeds from the paper towel. Maybe one or two that we missed, but it's not really a huge problem. You always miss some seeds here and there. That isn't the problem. That is okay. It will never be perfect. Yeah. Also got to be careful because sometimes there are different kind of layers on that kind of paper towel, and sometimes the seeds collect in between the layers, and then you are at risk at throwing seeds away just because they are behind somewhere here. But I think now we are really done. And this is the multi-hybrid KA 2011-56. One of the best hybrids that I have in my collection. And the offspring could be great too, so it makes sense to clean the seeds well, to do it right. So many seeds that you need to kind of free up again because they've dried, pressed against something like a piece of paper. Okay. Trying to take out the biggest pieces that can cause the most problems with the contamination. And then I'll move on. Maybe I'll do another cleaning with these two. If in doubt, just do another, like a second cleaning. Hey mate, I'm currently cleaning cactus seeds. These are seeds that we have kind of created on the channel last season. There are many videos from the year where you can see like we've been pollinating the flower, and then we harvested the seeds that we got, like the fruit. The seeds had to be like cleaned under a sieve, running water. And once you're done with that, you let it dry on a piece of kitchen paper. And then I have to scrape them down again to bag them, to start sowing them out, which is something that we will also do on the channel. So mostly around growing cactus seeds, you know? And it's a dirty job. It's not fun. I hate it. But when you do not do it, you cannot grow all the cacti, you know, that are important for the channel. It's a great feeling when you grow your own kind of seeds, you know. These are different, all kinds of different flower crosses, like different kind of hybrids involved, Cantora, Flying Saucer, the more popular cultivars with big flowers. And I try to, every now and then, try to breed in another species, maybe something columnar, something unusual, you know, the kind of improving the body, because I like that kind of a columnar cactus look, and trying to improve the flower on those. Yeah, I mean, then you there are some amazing flowers on cacti. The stuff that I breed here, that we're sowing out and all, the flowers are really beautiful. It's a great feeling when you, for the first time, see a flower of a cactus, you know, like we are kind of making the cross, and then we have to clean the seeds, sow them out. Like we have these little containers here with seedlings, and it takes 5 to 7 years until we see the flower. And it's a lot of work, but it's also worth it. It's a great hobby, a very rewarding hobby. Orchid cactus, yeah, I mean, they're beautiful too. I like them. I'm not breeding with them because I have very limited space. I work with very small greenhouses because they are cheap to heat, but it doesn't really allow you to have a lot of space. So I mostly focus on the kind of stuff where I know what I will get, you know. But I like these plants. You can sometimes make a great hybrid with the more unusual kind of plants, you know. I'm not sure where those are from, like the country of origin. I very like remotely have to do with that genus, you know. But yeah, something like very warm, South America somewhere. Gotta look it up, you know. Like these leafy kind of plants, they often come from countries like Venezuela, the more like with high humidity. I don't think South Africa, I mean, they grow them everywhere now, you know, like they have been planted out and all that. So yeah, very interesting kind of plants. Hey Robert, good morning. Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Hope you too. I'm only here for a few more minutes. I will probably get my my warning from the smartphone soon that it will collapse. It's constantly either overheating or collapsing, and I will probably change the phone today. I took a few photos and videos, and everything looked bad, so I guess it's time. I was born in Germany, like European. So yeah, think it's coming to an end with the old camera. I will use that for the time-lapse videos then, or maybe a little bit of cactus flower videos here and there, like when I'm streaming from the garden, maybe. But the rest of the videos next season will be recorded with the new one. At some point, you can just see that the video quality gets so bad that you cannot use it anymore. I like to work with smartphones because it's, I mean, it makes it easy for me to do it, you know. One cactus in here, we only have tiny seedlings. Like I can show you those. I have the cacti in the greenhouses, so check out the channel. I have a lot of videos, and I always have them outdoors in the greenhouses. So here you can see these are just tiny seedlings, maybe a month old. And yeah, within the first year, they grow very slow. And the moment they are bigger, when it's a little bit safer, I move them outside into the greenhouses, you know. So next time, I might do a stream with one of the bigger plants, but I have to bring it in then from the greenhouses. Like I said, I want to do more little segments where I just take a sick cactus and discuss what I have to do to make it healthy again, that kind of stuff. But I don't have them here right now. Indoors, I only have seedlings. I always try to kind of keep the large plants away from the animals, from the cat and the dog. So yeah, thank you guys for the stream. It was great. Had a lot of fun doing it again this morning. I'll be back tomorrow doing another stream like that. And yeah, I will do more streams where we will just discuss one plant, like a sick plant, talk through all the options that we have to kind of treat it or not, the risks that are involved and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is what I have planned for one of the next streams. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Sorry, Robert, that I'm going offline so fast, but at a certain point, the old phone is just at its limit. You can really feel like when the battery towards the like when they are a little bit older, how the battery life is decreased. So always have roughly 2 hours where I can stream, and that's it. Okay, guys, thank you. I will be back tomorrow. I appreciate you joining me every day. Thank you, mate. Talk soon. If you have any questions, just write them in the comments and I get back. Okay. Yeah, sorry. But everything's great. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. We'll do another stream tomorrow, so maybe you can catch it then. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.